I think we will get significant clarity in terms of regulation. We will get legislation as well. I think many more policymakers in Washington understand that this was a single vote issue for many voters, especially young voters. And so this is becoming much more of a bipartisan issue. And of course, you have the executive branch also supporting it mightily, proposing that we include Bitcoin in Treasury Reserve. So you've got, I think we're going to have support of all three branches of government are going to be supportive, which is a big change.
Well, it would be a big change. And I mean, are we really sure of that, I suppose, is the question, because Gary Gensler, the SEC, had a very different view of the risks and the retail investor protections that should be in place when it comes to crypto. There are surely a lot of people who still believe that's important.
Well, I think he didn't understand that this is the next big wave of the Internet. This is the layer of the Internet that developers did not build in the early 90s because no one thought anyone would buy or use financial services on the Internet. I remember back then, no one was going to give their credit card to the Internet, right? This is the next big wave, and it's a huge efficiency move for the financial services sector. So in terms of Bitcoin specifically, it is really the leader in a new asset class. And we have a paper out on that. You can see the low correlations, which do define a new asset class. And it is a global monetary system. It's a very big idea. My professor, mentor, friend, Art Laffer, when he collaborated with us on our Bitcoin paper in 2015, he said, "This is what I've been waiting for since the U.S. closed the gold window in 1971. So he has been energized by this new movement towards a rules-based global monetary system.
Do you think Trump's going to be on board with that? The president has indicated he's quite a big fan of the US dollar, and it sounds like what you're suggesting is a replacement for the US dollar.
No, we actually think that that these two will coexist, and if anything, what we're seeing with the stablecoin movement, which is how people is the on-ramp into decentralized financial services. They're all backed by Treasury securities, which de facto they're backed by the dollar. So we think that movement is gaining momentum here, especially now with the deregulation taking place.
You say they're rules-based, but then we see more coins coming all the time. So there might be restricted supply.
From the president.
Yeah, from the president and his wife. So
I said Bitcoin was rules-based. 21 million units, and we're nearly at 20 million now. So that scarcity value will continue to support Bitcoin going forward.
In recent news, Cathie Wood has made waves with her bold predictions about the future of the stock market and specifically Bitcoin. She has insight on a potential boom that might hit Bitcoin soon, but not before it goes through the worst of dips. Let us delve deeper into her perspective and understand how Bitcoin tanks before it blows up completely. Welcome back to Investocracy Crypto.
We'll jog over to another part of the big ideas that I know many people enjoy, and that is about crypto assets or digital assets. And you'll see how we get to our base case for the Bitcoin price and our bull case. Many people know us for our bull case, $1.5 million, and we actually think the odds have gone up that our bull case will be the right number. Because of what is becoming the institutionalization of this new asset class. So many institutional investors are now looking at Bitcoin and thinking that they need to add it to their asset allocation because its return profile looks so much different and its risk profile looks so much different from all of the other assets in their portfolios. And then in another section of big ideas, you'll see stablecoins. And I do think it is quite a surprise to learn that stablecoins in total, the transaction value of all of them is roughly, or was last year, $15 trillion. that was more than either Visa or MasterCard. And by the end of the year, the run rate was nearly double that, $30 trillion. Now, when we say that, I want to make sure you understand that this is transaction value. There are very large transactions taking place with stablecoins. Transaction volume, or the number of transactions, Visa and MasterCard still have many more transactions, but the value that is ramping through the digital asset ecosystem as decentralized finance takes off, or another way of saying it, the internet financial system takes off, that is scaling tremendously in a way that I don't think people really understand. So we wanted to highlight the difference between that and the stable coins in the context of Visa and MasterCard.
Once again, Cathie Wood has sparked intrigue with her assertion that the U.S. economy is at the cusp of a rolling recession's end, potentially ushering in a significant expansion. This optimistic outlook is juxtaposed with current market volatility, where Bitcoin teeters around the $80,000 mark. Though, let's be honest, for Bitcoin, that's just a normal Tuesday afternoon kind of swing.
Okay, Bitcoin, the reserve. Supposedly there is disappointment that we're not going to be buying Bitcoin outright using taxpayer dollars. But if we can do it in a revenue neutral way, we would. Number one, were you a proponent for the reserve? And two, is there a way to buy Bitcoin, not just acquire it through, I don't know, however we've gotten these $17 billion worth at this point?
Yeah, so Joe, I am a big proponent of the U.S. taking the worldwide lead in crypto. I think we have to bring it onshore and they use our best practices and regulation. I think that the Bitcoin reserve, before you can accumulate it, you have to stop selling it. So what we have now is from a seized asset pool, and I wasn't there when it happened, but I believe what happened was about 500 million of Bitcoin was seized, half of it was sold, and what we have now that, say it's over 10 billion, 10, 12 billion, that's all through appreciation. So the first thing to do is to stop the selling. So we are going to, after the victims are paid and all of that, any seized assets will go into this reserve, and then we'll see what the way forward is for more acquisitions for the reserves. And we're starting with Bitcoin, but it's an overall crypto reserve.
Right. So how do you think about buying, though? And how should taxpayers think about that? Because effectively we'll be levering ourselves to some degree, given that we don't have a surplus of money right now, to make these investments.
Yeah, so that's why the first step is to stop selling, and then we're going to put a plan in place from there. So we're having this crypto summit. I'm going back to Washington this afternoon, and then we'll talk about the way forward.
Despite such challenges, Wood remains steadfast in her belief that innovation is the linchpin for future economic resurgence. Her recent statement underscores an unwavering faith in blockchain's potential to redefine investment paradigms. Wood's speculative forecast hints at a crypto rebound in the latter half of the year, driven by more favorable monetary policies and burgeoning institutional investments. But before going any further, if you made it this far into the video, thank you. These videos take a lot of effort and time to make, so if you enjoyed them, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. This goes a long way in helping us grow. That said, back to the video.
Cathie, I wanted to ask you about Bitcoin and what the chart tells you about price action there. I mean, he did it. They did an executive order creating the strategic crypto reserve. Maybe there's some disappointment, but they're not going to be buying more crypto, that they're using what they've basically seized from criminal entities. But it is interesting that Bitcoin is not moving that much. It's lower on the announcement of that. I guess a lot of that was baked in. What does it tell you about where it goes?
It's a fairly muted reaction for sure, but we have such bearish sentiment right now around equities, so maybe that's affecting all risk assets. So that could be part of the influence there. But if you look at the chart, Bitcoin still is in a long-term uptrend. That long-term uptrend is at risk this month of an overbought downturn. That would tell us at least it's going to assume a more gradual slope. It's been quite steep, as you know, or perhaps get into a trading range, which is our view for the broader equity market. So we think a range is possible And more recently, of course, we had a recent breakdown from a 3-month or 4-month range in Bitcoin that we see as an intermediate term setback. For those that are looking to add exposure, we're just saying wait. And for those that are long-term holders, we just say, well, if it's okay, it probably will go against you for a little bit, but you can hold through that.
As Wood's followers eagerly observe market trajectories, the current state of cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin presents a fascinating dichotomy of risk and potential. Despite recent shakes, the foundation remains robust. But what do you think? Share your thoughts. And finally, if you would like to know more about cryptocurrencies or specifically Bitcoin, go ahead and click on the next video on your screen. See you there.